Welcome back to Midwest Access. I'm meteorologist Sarah Gannon. We have been enjoying some nice, comfortable and seasonal temperatures. Dew points, though, have been gradually on the rise throughout today. So a lot of us seeing those dew points either into those lower to mid 60s. So starting to feel a little bit more of that humidity creeping up. I will say, though, along the riverside from La Crosse to Winona up towards the Red Wing area, still seeing those dew points into the 50s. A little bit more comfortable in that direction, but a good chunk of the viewing area still seeing some increased dew point levels. And I will say, though, as we look ahead to the next couple of days, especially for tomorrow, we are looking at some pretty humid conditions with dew points into the upper 60s, if not climbing into those lower 70s. Some gradual improvement as we head towards later in the week by Thursday and into Friday. We're expecting to see a cold front come through Wednesday, so that will help usher in some cooler, more dry air back into the region by Thursday, extending into Friday. So tail end of the week looking very nice, comfortable, comfort-wise in terms of humidity levels, but things a bit uncomfortable here as we head towards the midweek for your Tuesday and Wednesday. Up next, some additional changes on the way as we head towards your Tuesday. So let's talk about the next big thing. Keeping an eye on the possibility for some straight to isolated showers and thunderstorms tomorrow here in southern Minnesota and northern Iowa. There is a level 1 out of a level 5 severe risk for a good chunk of the upper Midwest here from Wisconsin into northern Minnesota locally, and then a little bit further to our southwest as well. Main concerns, should we see any strong to severe thunderstorms tomorrow afternoon, would be hail and wind concerns. There is an isolated tornadic risk to our north through the Twin Ports region into northern Wisconsin and the Arrowhead region of Minnesota. So we'll continue to keep an eye on those forecast details, continue to track those models, and we may end up seeing some shifting in those guidance levels here heading into tomorrow. So we'll monitor that straight isolated storm chance tomorrow. I do think the better opportunity for some rainfall for southern Minnesota and northern Iowa will be Saturday extending into Sunday. So continue to track out that weekend forecast. At this point in time, I don't think it's going to be a washout. However, you may need to make some minor adjustments with those outdoor plans this weekend. So continue to keep an eye on the forecast here as we look throughout this week. Tomorrow, we'll monitor some sunshine earlier into the day, increasing those clouds as we look towards the afternoon and bringing in that isolated, that stray storm threat. Again, we right now could be looking at some timing towards late afternoon into the early evening. So monitoring things very closely. It'll be very stray in manner in terms of where we see those thunderstorms developing. So keeping an eye on that for your Tuesday. Otherwise, dry conditions Wednesday, Thursday into Friday. And then we monitor those late weekend rain chances. Some thunderstorms possible as well Saturday and into Sunday. That's a look at your first alert forecast.
We're going to get one last check on the weather here on Midwest Access with Sarah.
The forecast looking pretty quiet here heading into tonight. However, we are monitoring our Tuesday late afternoon into the evening hours for a chance for some straight showers and storms. There's a chance that should we see those storms develop and move through, a few of them could be on the strong to severe side. So monitoring Tuesday late afternoon into the evening very carefully, but otherwise the rest of the week looking pretty nice. Monitoring some weekend rain chances, though. Chief Meteorologist Nick Jansen will have all of those latest first alert forecast details for you when we see you back in just a few minutes at 5. Well, we certainly saw some really beautiful conditions here in southern Minnesota and northern Iowa today. And not as much widespread sun, a bit more filtered for the area, but regardless, a great day. Temperature-wise, slightly above average, as many of us saw those high temperatures in the upper 70s to low 80s. A similar trend continuing as we move into the rest of the upcoming work week. Heading into tomorrow, temperatures, as I mentioned, will still stay pretty similar, looking at some upper 70s to low 80s for those afternoon highs. However, there is a chance for a few straight to isolated showers and thunderstorms tomorrow, monitoring things closely for your Tuesday as we have a level 1 out of a level 5 severe risk for the area tomorrow. And this includes all of the viewing area here, much of southern Minnesota and northern Iowa. We'd be looking at wind and hail as our main concerns, with the best time for those storms to develop after 5 o'clock in the evening. I will say, though, I think this is more of a conditional threat for the area locally, as we are expected to see a cap in place tomorrow, so that could really limit any storm development. So monitoring tomorrow's forecast very closely.
All right, thanks, Sarah. We'll check back in soon.
And we kicked off. We are just kind of finishing up what was a beautiful weekend. However, things changing a bit more as we head towards your Tuesday, as we see the return of some shower and thunderstorm chances. Not a total washout of the day, some dry conditions through the morning and into the afternoon. However, after about 5-6 o'clock in the evening, we could be looking at some straight isolated showers and thunderstorms. However, it is a bit more of a conditional threat. I'll explain why in your first alert forecast coming up.
Here's your first alert weather with meteorologist Sarah Gannon.
We have been enjoying some really great conditions over the weekend, changing though heading into tomorrow. So let's talk about the next big thing, and that is our next possible storm chance. Some showers and thunderstorms may be returning tomorrow. However, a bit of a conditional threat for us in southern Minnesota and northern Iowa. So Storm Prediction Center does have a level 1 out of a level 5 severe risk over southern Minnesota and northern Iowa, even into portions of northern Minnesota and northern Wisconsin. So locally for us, we are looking at the best timing for those storms to be after about 5 o'clock in the evening. So most of the day tomorrow should be pretty dry and quiet. Should we see strong to severe storms develop, wind and hail will be our primary concerns. Now, if you have friends and family up in northern Wisconsin, northern Minnesota, there is a low-end tornadic risk included as well for the area. So something to monitor, especially if you have friends and family up north. Locally, though, that tornadic threat is not expected. It would be wind and hail. However, this is more of a conditional threat for tomorrow, as we are expected to see a cap in place. So straight chance for tomorrow, if we can see storms bust through that cap, we would be looking at storms initiating and arriving after about 5 o'clock in the evening. So I do think the better chance for shower and thunderstorms will be this weekend, Saturday into Sunday, extending towards early Monday. At this point in time, not expected to be a washout of a weekend, but if you do have some outdoor plans, especially all day, kind of have that backup plan just in case if you do need to step inside for a little bit. So that would more so be for Saturday, but I do think Sunday probably has the better chance of seeing some shower and thunderstorm activity during the daytime hours. So monitoring things closely here as we head into this weekend. Tomorrow, taking a look at your planner, we're expecting to see partly to mostly cloudy skies throughout the day. Seasonal temperatures in the upper 70s to low 80s. It's after that 6 o'clock time frame tomorrow evening that we would bring in that possible thunderstorm chance. Also of note for tomorrow is going to be the increase in humidity levels this weekend. Fabulous. Not the case, though, tomorrow as we see high dew points up into the upper 60s, low 70s. Improvement, though, is expected by Thursday into Friday, so some ups and downs with those dew point levels. 70 forecast for Mankato, looking quiet between Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday after those isolated storm chances tomorrow. Keeping an eye on that forecast very closely, of course, for tomorrow evening. Temperature-wise, though, not much to complain about. It stays pretty consistent in the upper 70s to low 80s.
Especially without any humidity, the weather has been beautiful.
It really has.
All right, thanks, Sarah.
You might want to keep the umbrella handy, especially for later into the day, as we do track a chance for some straight isolated showers and thunderstorms, more so towards the evening hours, likely after about 6 o'clock in the evening. So bulk of the day for your Tuesday looking dry, quiet, and seasonal. However, there is a bit of a conditional threat to our thunderstorm chance tomorrow evening. I'll break down those latest First Alert forecast details coming up. And we are keeping an eye and monitoring the potential for a few strong to severe thunderstorms that may be possible tomorrow evening. However, a bit of a conditional threat at play. Your latest First Alert forecast is coming up. And as we come off of a beautiful weekend, things are changing heading into your Tuesday. Not a washout tomorrow. Plenty of dry conditions are expected throughout the day. Seasonal temperatures through the afternoon as we track highs in the upper 70s to low 80s. Keeping an eye, though, on the possibility of a few showers and storms heading into tomorrow evening. There is a concern for some of those storms to become strong to severe after 5 o'clock would be the best timing for that storm development. Wind and hail would be our main concern, main threat locally. However, there is a conditional threat, I think, for the areas. We have a cap in place, and if that cap holds, likely staying dry tomorrow evening. But if we can bust through that cap, we'd be looking at a few storms on the way. So as we continue to keep an eye on that storm threat for tomorrow, we are monitoring heading into the weekend. Another opportunity, probably a better opportunity for some shower and thunderstorm activity for the region. So keeping an eye on a few different things in terms of rain chances. We certainly could use the rain, so hoping to get a little rain, but we don't need the severe aspect with it.
All right, thank you, Sarah. We'll check back in soon.
And we are looking to see some ups and downs when it comes to our dew point levels this week. Looking at some high humidity back in the forecast tomorrow as we track an upcoming shower and storm chance. We are looking forward, though, to a cold front to pass through on Wednesday, which will bring in some cooler, more comfortable air by the end of the week. Thursday, Friday, looking to see some pretty comfortable dew points back into the 50s. We'll track more on that upcoming rain chance for your Tuesday and your First Alert forecast next.
Here's your First Alert weather with meteorologist Sarah Gannon.
Conditions were absolutely fabulous for the area over this weekend. However, things are going to change. We are talking about some upcoming storm chances. So this is the next big thing here as we look to see some increased dew points tomorrow and an increased storm chance. Right now, we are looking at a level 1 out of a level 5 severe risk for portions of the upper Midwest, including southern Minnesota and northern Iowa. At this point in time, it is more of a conditional threat for our area. We're expecting to see a cap in place, some capping in place. And with that cap, if it holds, we'll likely end up staying entirely dry tomorrow evening. However, if storms are able to kind of erode that cap, then we would be looking at our best timing for any strong to severe activity after 5 o'clock, with wind and hail as our primary threats. Now, if you move a little bit further north in northern Wisconsin, northern Minnesota, there would be an increased tornadic threat in that direction. Locally, though, wind and hail will be our main concerns. A little bit further to our southwest, though, for portions of Nebraska, Kansas, Oklahoma, and into the panhandle of Texas, there's a level 2 out of a level 5 risk, and that likely is where we're expecting to see probably the better chance of severe activity. Again, conditional threat for us locally. So monitoring those forecast trends here very closely overnight into tomorrow. So we do have that stray storm chance for tomorrow. I do think the better opportunity for some thunderstorm activity is going to be Saturday and into Sunday. Not a washout of the weekend. Sunday maybe having the better possibility of seeing some rain during the daytime hours. So monitoring that weekend forecast closely. Don't cancel your plans for any outdoor plans, but maybe make a backup adjustment, a backup option just in case. I don't think it'll be a washout of the weekend, but we're monitoring those trends very closely. So tomorrow, bulk of the day dry and quiet. If that cap holds, we're dry all night long. However, if we do see that cap breaking, we'd be looking at some stray showers and storms after about 5 o'clock in the evening. So here's that 7-day forecast for Mankato. Temperatures holding pretty consistent, relatively seasonal into the upper 70s to low 80s. Dry as we head towards the end of the week and increasing the storm chances by the weekend. 10-day forecast for the Rochester area, monitoring our storm risk for tomorrow. Plenty of sun and quiet weather between Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, but monitoring that weekend storm chance for the region.
All right, thank you, Sarah. Coming up next in sports.
Thanks, Nick. Here's one more look at that 10-day forecast as we look ahead to our Tuesday, where we track out our next thunderstorm chance. So this will be our next big focus here heading into tonight and early tomorrow morning. Conditional threat. So not a 100% guarantee that we will see some rainfall. We have a cap in place. So if that holds, we would be looking at some dry conditions. However, if we can bust through that cap, we'll see storms developing and moving through the area after about 5, 6 o'clock in the evening. I do think the better chance, though, for rainfall in the area with some accumulating rain will be this weekend. I don't think it's a washout, but we certainly need to keep an eye on things here in the next few days. At least we get a couple nice, quiet, sunny days between there, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday.
Even with some rain chances, I mean, I think this is the perfect summertime weather.
It really is, yeah.
All right, thanks, Sarah. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. We'll see you back here tomorrow night at 9.
And we have been enjoying some really great conditions here throughout the weekend. However, changes are ahead for this upcoming week. Starting tomorrow, we are keeping an eye on some straight showers and storms for the region. In addition to tomorrow, the weekend also bringing a possible rain chance to us in southern Minnesota and northern Iowa. From there, then we look at our humidity levels fluctuating quite a bit this week. So summer, of course, not over just yet. Taking a look at the muggy meter, tomorrow will feel very summer-like with that high humidity back in the region. Dew points expected to be in the upper 60s, if not the low 70s. And with the passing cold front through Wednesday, we'll be looking at much more improvement by Thursday into Friday. So pretty comfortable as we move towards the end of the upcoming week. So looking ahead to tomorrow, best timing for some shower and thunderstorm activity for the region will be after about 5 o'clock. We'll look to see that thunderstorm activity looking to roll through. However, it is a bit of a conditional threat. So we'll break down more of those first alert forecast details on tomorrow's storm risk and why we have that conditional threat tomorrow.
A couple of things to keep an eye on. Thank you, Sarah.
And we are continuing to keep an eye on a possible thunderstorm risk for tomorrow. There may even be a couple strong storms if we can see that cap broken. We are looking at some capping in place, so a bit more of a conditional risk for severe weather tomorrow. Monitoring, though, that risk for the evening hours. The bulk of your Tuesday looking dry and quiet with some summer temperatures in the upper 70s to low 80s. I'll break down that first alert forecast for you coming up in just a couple minutes.
Your first alert weather with meteorologist Sarah Gannon.
We had a beautiful weekend here in southern Minnesota and northern Iowa. Unfortunately, though, things changing, bringing back some rain chances and increasing those humidity levels heading into your Tuesday. So let's talk about the next big thing as we monitor the risk for a few strong to severe stray storms possible tomorrow. Should we see that severe risk come to fruition, the best timing for storms would be after 5 o'clock in the evening with wind and hail as our main concerns. Now, this is into portions of the upper Midwest here, as you can see, and including parts of the KTTC viewing area, that level 1 out of a level 5 risk. Again, wind and hail as those main concerns. However, a bit more of a conditional risk for us locally. We are expecting a cap in place tomorrow, and that would limit storm development. However, if we end up seeing those storms kind of erode that cap being eroded, we'll be looking at those storms to initiate then after 5 o'clock. So not a 100% yes or no, low confidence on this forecast for that storm risk tomorrow. Notice though, to our south into portions of Nebraska, Kansas, Oklahoma, and Texas, a level 2 out of a level 5 severe risk for tomorrow. So likely that will be the better place to see severe weather happen. Again, locally staying more conditional. So continuing to fine tune those forecast details as we head into tomorrow and into the afternoon, kind of a wait and see type of event when we have that strong capping in place. So monitoring that stray risk tomorrow. I do think the better opportunity for some accumulating rainfall will be Saturday and Sunday. So this weekend, unfortunately, but the good news is I don't expect it to be a washout. So you should still be able to do some outdoor plans, but have that backup option just in case. Looking to see some potential good rainfall on the way this weekend. Tomorrow, not completely a soggy day. We are expecting to see some dry conditions for the first half, the morning hours into the midday and early afternoon. After about 5 o'clock is when we could see those storms possibly developing. Again, all dependent on if that cap holds or not. Here's that 10-day forecast for the Rochester area as we take a look at temperatures staying pretty consistent, upper 70s to low 80s. A dry mid and late week as we look towards Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday with some sunny conditions. A bit more moisture back in the forecast, though, by this weekend. So a lot of ups and downs when it comes to dew points. I'd say the best 2 days to get outside this week will be Thursday and Friday with the low humidity kind of mixed in.
Overall, been a very comfortable August.
Yes.
Yeah, it's been nice not to have to rely so heavily on that air conditioner.
I don't think I've turned it on at all this month, which is pretty fantastic.
It is fantastic. Yeah. All right, Sarah, thanks.
Let's take another look at that 7-day forecast for Austin, Mason City, and Winona as we track that stray shower and thunderstorm risk for tomorrow. Again, this will mainly be after about 5, 6 o'clock in the evening. Better chance towards 7, 8 o'clock at night. So a bulk of the day for tomorrow looking dry and quiet. A good opportunity to soak up those nice conditions earlier in the day. Heading into Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, probably our best 3 days of the upcoming week, especially Wednesday and Thursday as we lose that humidity. So less humid conditions with dew points back into the 50s. Much more comfortable to be outside. Keeping an eye, though, pretty closely on this weekend as we track the chance for some shower and thunderstorm chances both Saturday and Sunday. Not a washout at this point, but we're monitoring the forecast trends pretty closely this weekend. So keep an eye on the forecast if you have outdoor plans. Nick? Here's one more look at that 10-day forecast as we track the chance for some straight showers and storms tomorrow evening. A conditional risk, so not the highest of confidence on tomorrow's forecast, unfortunately. Looking forward, though, to some nice weather towards the tail end of the week between Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. A little bit better confidence, though, when it comes to our weekend rain chance. The good news is I don't think we're expecting to see constant rainfall all day long, so I don't think you need to make any significant changes to your weekend plans. However, monitor the forecast closely over the next couple of days as we fine-tune those forecast details, kind of pin down exact locations that we'll be looking at this rainfall, timing, and potential totals. But weekend chance having a little bit more confidence on seeing some rainfall versus tomorrow weekend.
And the state fair starts on Thursday. Thursday's looking beautiful so far.
Absolutely.
Do you have a food craving already, guys?
This year, I would like to try the apple fries.